The club is proud to present our new partner, Super 6. Now, if you haven't heard of Super 6, it is something that every football fan needs in their life. Now, it's a game that is completely and utterly free to play. It will not cost you a penny. And if you predict 6 scores correctly, you will win £250,000. And did I say it will not cost you a penny to enter? It's totally free to play. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Buvey, Adam and myself have started up our own league so you can compete against us. Make sure that you join our league. It will not cost you a penny and you could win £250,000. The code to join our league on Super 6 is Club S6. And if you finish top of our league, you will be given £100 to spend at classicfootballshirts.co.uk. We will be giving out a top every single round of fixtures. It is so easy to play, even I can do it. You simply predict your 6 scores, you hit the golden goal. So that is the minute that you think the first goal will be scored in that round of fixtures, and you are good to go. And if you get them all right, you will win £250,000. And even if you don't get them right, but you manage to finish top of our league, you will get £100 to spend at classicfootballshirts.co.uk. The link is in the description below, and Adam, Buvey and myself would love it if you would join our league. Look forward to seeing you there. You're watching a clip from the Club podcast.
Make sure you follow it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give it a 5-star review.
So here you go. Here's a lovely clip from our podcast.
I want to talk about a kid that I think is a sure thing. We had a bit of a debate a few weeks ago about this. I think he's as sure as Wayne Rooney from Everton. That's my opinion. Borussia Dortmund's Jude Bellingham to Liverpool. It's off, according to reports this week.
Which means it was never on, doesn't
Firstly, do we think he joins the Premier League this season? Is it right? And what about Liverpool in this situation?
Shut up a minute. Because wasn't it someone on this panel who looked dead down that camera right there and told Liverpool fans, stop getting their hopes up. You can't afford him. You can't afford the wages, the transfer fee. He will not be going to Liverpool, especially if you haven't got Champions League football.
Yeah, you did say that. Congratulations.
What's happened?
Yeah.
Liverpool I got abused for that.
Not from me.
Not from
you didn't have to cut me off.
I'm a lot of Liverpool fans.
I was backing you up massive. No, but honestly, yeah, I think Liverpool, they're not in the world to sign these kind of... He's a superstar. For me, he's top 5 midfielders in world
I think
football.
the problem for Liverpool and Liverpool fans will be, and Liverpool fans will come out and say it, is that, and it reminds me of a move that Ed Woodward would have done at United, is for that the last 2 or 3 seasons, or 4 or 5 seasons, or in their time under Jurgen Klopp, they've not really strengthened the midfield. They've signed Arta and Thiago Silva off the top of my head. I know they brought in like the likes of Naby Keita and stuff as well.
Alcantara.
Thiago, that's what I said. Yeah. So they brought in Thiago and did I say Silva?
You said Silva.
Sorry, I meant to say Thiago. They brought in Thiago and the other fella Arta. And obviously Thiago is a fantastic midfielder. He's been injured a lot of the time. They've kind of delayed buying another midfielder on the basis or the proviso that they're going to get Jude Bellingham some way down the line. And I think it's always been obvious that that's not going to happen. Obviously, they could have Champions League football, but they usually buy to sell. Their net spend under their owners is 25 million a season. Do you really think they're going to splash the cash out for someone like Jude Bellingham? They've already shown that they won't back the manager as much as a Pep will be backed, as much as other managers from other clubs will be backed. They've already shown that they won't back him.
The problem
so that's where the problem comes out, is that they've waited so long.
Yeah.
And
I can't speak for Liverpool fans, of course. My only small comment on it would be, I think Liverpool fans would be really frustrated that a club of their stature, of what they've won with Jurgen Klopp, who they've still got in the dugout in terms of Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, Adam's 1,000,000% right. The strategy behind getting Bellingham, it should have been on top of a Declan Rice last summer. It should have been on top of a Tchouameni. You can't build a whole squad around Jude Bellingham and make that appealing to Jude Bellingham.
I also think that's a massive mistake, because this was the point I was trying to make to you the other week when we had a debate about Jude Bellingham and to Rory as well. Like, I think Jude Bellingham is a fantastic player. But when I went, you asked me a question, I went, I'd rather sign Frankie de Jong for United, for example, because I feel like he'd be better for our system. And you kind of looked at me like I was crazy. I think there's this narrative that he fixes everyone's problems. That's not the case. He doesn't fix all of Liverpool problems. So I actually think their board have probably done the right thing in going, you know what, we're not in this race for him. We can't afford him. We can't compete. Let's focus elsewhere. There's rumours about them focusing on Mason Mount. And if they can get Mason Mount for free or a nominal fee, that makes more sense than spending 120 million on Jude Bellingham, who might not even succeed.
Yeah, you get Caicedo with Fabinho as a replacement, that kind of thing.
And I think Bellingham's a huge talent. I just think it's a lot of money.
I think
it's a lot of money.
When you have the opportunity, and at one point it felt like Jude Bellingham was going to Liverpool. It certainly felt like Liverpool were the front runners for Jude Bellingham. When you have the opportunity of signing a player of that quality, I think you have to take it. Like moments ago, Buvey was talking about when Rooney signed for Manchester United, and then you came alive. I saw a glint in your eye when Wayne Rooney came up. You were like, it's a sure thing, it's definitely going to work, and it's who Manchester United were at the time and who they wanted to be going forward. I think that a lot of that is applicable to Jude Bellingham and Liverpool. I think that Liverpool have had this year, which is sort of a hiatus that doesn't feel right for them, and they need to get back on track. And I think the way that they get back on track is by signing somebody who is a statement signing somebody who's a marquee signing somebody that announces to the world that Liverpool are ready to compete with the very best. So by not signing Jude Bellingham, what it does is it means that Jude Bellingham either stays at Dortmund, or it means that he signs for a club that in theory is meant to be Liverpool's rivals. So therefore Liverpool have conceded that ground. Say he ends up going to Manchester City. There was a time fairly recently, like 12 months ago, in fact, Liverpool and Man City were neck and neck. They were literally the same. Liverpool had gone a bit further in certain cups, and Liverpool had done a bit better, and Manchester City ended up winning the league. They were the same. This season, the chasm between the two has grown. And if Bellingham then goes to Liverpool, suddenly Liverpool aren't even relevant.
But this is why I've always said, I don't think he's going to Liverpool, because they don't back the manager in the same way other clubs do. They don't have the resources. And now it looks like, I know we've kind of flirted between will they make top four, will they not? Like, they're not going to make top four either. So you haven't even got the chance. So with all that being said, for them to then spunk their load on one player who could potentially come in, I don't think one player resolves that. You've got Jordan Henderson, who needs to be replaced or like managed a little bit better. James Milner's going to move. You've got, what's his face in them? Curtis Jones probably isn't even good enough. Thiago's always injured.
They've had a lot
Arthur's
of
not going to be there. You think one man comes in and resolves that? So I think financially for their club, they're probably doing the better thing. The problem comes, you've chased him all.
But there are examples,
so
Adam, of big clubs that have, look, again, 12 months ago, this nucleus of the squad, Van Dijk, Alisson, Trent, all these guys were two or three games away from a quadruple, right? So they've still got the quality there. The form's drops off massively. It wouldn't just be Bellingham, but if it was just Bellingham, I personally think he's that good in midfield. If he was to stay fit for 38 games, he's that good in midfield. We just talked about Kante at Leicester. Kante went to Chelsea. I know. I'm not saying
he's not the difference, is what I'm saying. I know you're not saying the same player.
That's your opinion. I completely respect your opinion about that. For me, he's that good. He's that good.
I think he can be that good.
I think he already is.
I don't think he currently is that good.
I've seen it firsthand against City. He was the best midfielder at the Etihad in the quarterfinal of the Champions League. Mate, he was 18 years old and he's only improved. He was the best midfielder at the World Cup.
I know. But I just feel if United had 120 million to spend on a midfielder, I'd go Frankie de Jong.
I get that for 10
right now.
But I think as a club,
if I could get two, I'd get both of them.
Do you know what?
I'd go Frankie.
You may be right suggesting.
I think he'd be a great sign for City, by the way.
But you may be right suggesting de Jong over Bellingham in your very specific example. I don't know if I agree, but
it's like Ronaldo.
For Manchester United, it may work. But nobody else thinks that, mate. Like no other club.
I don't know,
mate, if you ask a Chelsea fan, do you want Bellingham or De Jong? It's not even the question.
That's the point I'm trying to make. There's a hype around Bellingham at the moment, and I think the hype is bigger than the actual player that he is. And I do think he's massively talented, but he's not a Wayne Rooney. He's not a one-off. He's not a one of the kind.
Different
I don't know if he is.
Wayne Rooney played further up the pitch. He was a striker. He scored these big moments. Bellingham's control of the game at his age, I've never seen anything like it.
He's a very good player. I just think calm down with some of the things that we're running around and saying. Some people, again, said top five midfielders.
It's terrible news for Liverpool. Whatever way you look at it, it's terrible news for Liverpool.
No, massive.
It's like terrible news.
He's ahead of Camavinga.
Because I honestly believe that Liverpool, had they signed him, whatever you think of his ability, I think that he revolutionises that team. I think that team is suddenly fresh, they're invigorated. Signing him allows other players to sign, maybe players that are there, they elevate their game. Having him around, it could rejuvenate Jurgen Klopp. A player like Bellingham arrives and everything changes. He is the seminal.
He's not just a talented. I think the way you're approaching this is if Liverpool put all their eggs in one basket for Declan Rice. That's the thing. Bellingham's better. Yeah, Bellingham's infinitely better than Declan Rice.
Bellingham's a better footballer than Declan Rice.
He carries the ball better. He's got a goal in him.
But Declan Rice could have a better impact on your team because of the job he does the job that Declan Rice does in terms of holding.
I respect your take on. Look,
I think Bellingham's a better footballer. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
By the way, I just think the role that Declan Rice does
can you give me
could be
five
more important to your team.
that are total centre midfielders, Steven Gerrard-esque?
You've got Cruz and Thiago.
No,
Cruz
he's
and
not a
Modric
Cruz
out there today.
midfielder. The way he carries the ball,
No, I'm on
I've never
about
seen anything like
No, I
it.
thought you was going to ask me about top 5 again. That's what I thought you was going to ask me.
Yeah, Cruz
I was
is
going
a
to say
deep
there's 3
line
midfielders that
playmaker.
play for Real Madrid better than him.
We can't compare Bellingham to Modric fairly because of the positions
Like
they play. You can't give me a midfield. If Enzo Fernandez, and with all due respect, has gone to Chelsea for 100 million
No,
quid.
but don't bring in
No, but
Chelsea's ridiculous transfer
I'm
strategy.
not. But
no, but Chelsea's
it's market
ridiculous
value.
transfer.
Whether it's right or wrong, it is a market value for a central
Okay, here's the
midfielder.
question.
Bellingham is up there then, 200 million quid.
Let's angle this differently. We've kind of given our opinions on what we think it means to Liverpool. I don't think they're getting him. I never thought they did. You guys think they're missing out massively. And I think that's true. Both things can be true. If you were his advisor, if you were an advisor to him or his agent, where would you be telling him to go?
Man City. It's ridiculous, isn't it? But the answer to that, but Adam, this would be applicable to if I was the advisor or the agent of any footballer in the world right now. Like, it doesn't matter what the player is. Where do you want to go now?
No, but sometimes different clubs suit different players.
I mean, look, different clubs do suit different players, but Man City suit every player better than any other club. Like, I think Manchester United and Harry Kane is a perfect fit. But if Man City was available, it's Man City. I think Man City is the answer. Man City is... In fact, there's only one club where I think Jude Bellingham should be playing next season ahead of Man City. The answer is Man City, to answer your question directly, but I would actually say stay at Dortmund for another year. That would be my advice.
I actually think you're probably right.
Yeah, I think Real Madrid, he doesn't get enough opportunities to start.
Stay at Dortmund.
It depends what happens with the other
craft.
lads,
Like
Yeah,
the player that he'll be after another season at Dortmund, the amount of money that he will command, the stature of the player will be yet another year in advance, and he will be learning. Remember, he is so young still. We think of like I don't know, you think about certain players being young, don't you? Declan Rice, you think about him being young. You think Mason Mount's young. Jude Bellingham is so much younger than them. So
5 years younger than these.
so much younger, exactly.
Surreal.
So he's
surreal.
He's an amazing player.
My advice, if I were actually counselling Bellingham, I'd say stay exactly where you are.
I think it's a flip of a coin between Madrid and City.
I take my Man City hat off. I think he's bang on. I think actually Bellingham would look at someone like Calvin Phillips. Look, different talents, of course, but he hasn't settled in. It's taken him a year. I think he'd worry about that a little bit.
No, but he'd look at Rodri and go, well, he's settled in really well.
No, Rodri took a year as well. But
Rodri's
first season,
he settled in.
No, but I'm just saying,
Rodri
if there was
took a
any
year.
nerves about joining Man City, if there were
But it
any,
always takes
it would
a year.
be about
For a lot of players, it takes a year because of Guardiola's very specific system. It takes time.
I don't know Jude Bellingham's character. There's some footballers that want instant impact.
No, Jude Bellingham is very like.
He seems very Erling Haaland.
Very,
yeah.
But he's also
His
very
family's guiding him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
The other thing that you can read into his character, the fact that he was prepared to go to Dortmund, gives us an insight into the man that he is.
The way he commands in,
quite
I
a
wouldn't
brave
be surprised
German.
to see him go Real Madrid before the Premier League, because he'll know the Premier League move's always there for
You
him,
fucking.
no matter who's at the top of the tree or not.
But does he start next season, first game next season?
He'd back himself.
Look how the Madrid fans turn on people. I hate for them to turn on him.
Of course. And Manchester City, you'd probably look at City, you go, the style of football they'd play, the coach that they'd have would make him better. He'd get to link up with Erling Haaland again.
Do you know the one reason why you may say, and look, I think he should go to City because he'd be incredibly rich.
Bars him, I'd go Real Madrid all day long.
The only reason why maybe Manchester City isn't... The only reason why maybe Manchester City isn't right, the only argument that you can make is, when you think about what Jude Bellingham's best attributes are, when you think about what he's good at, he's a swashbuckling, commanding, box-to-box midfielder that can do it all. That quality won't be allowed to flourish at City.
Unless he plays as a winger, maybe. Like, you'd have to play out of position. That's
where Jude Bellingham belongs, I think, is... It's not going to happen. But
that's what
if he went to Liverpool, Klopp's swashbuckling, box to box, proper central midfielder.
He'd be great for Ten Hag as well in that system, sitting ahead of Casemiro. So you got Casemiro sitting there behind him in the same role that he wants Frankie De Jong kind of to occupy. That number 8, half number 6, coming backwards and forwards. But it'd be unreal there for.
It's just Man City. Man City are the closest thing to guaranteed silverware that you can get.
No, of course. I'm just saying. Which coach, he'd look great for Manchester United. He'd be a great signing for it.
Coach-wise, I'd say Klopp. I think Klopp would bring the best out in him. I just don't think that it suits.
I think that's what's frustrating for the football world.
Few people mentioning Arsenal as a possible destination for him.
I think
can't say that.
You can't laugh at that. I think it would be a really good move.
Financially,
I mean the logistics of it.
It don't make sense.
I think it makes an awful lot of sense for some reasons.
Financially, it doesn't.
No, financially it doesn't, but footballing wise, I think it does. If you think about young players go to Arsenal to thrive. Like Saka.
Thriving. Yeah.
He didn't go to Arsenal. Like,
No, okay, young players thrive at Arsenal.
I think he'd look at Odegaard, I
Or I
suppose.
can use players that go there, like Odegaard went there and has thrived. Like, you can say young players either
better
go
than
there to thrive or thrive when they're there. And that could be something of interest. to
Who
him.
were they linked
better
with
than that.
recently?
Caicedo.
Was it Caicedo?
In January. Yeah, they wanted 90 mil, Brighton.
So they've probably got money there for a reason.
Arsenal have money, like never ever. It's a bit like Tottenham. You know, when people say that Tottenham don't have the money, like Joe Lewis and Enoch and that, they're very wealthy. Stan Kroenke is like the money is there. Like if Arsenal choose to
You
not
just
spend
don't
it,
see them spending
no, you
120
don't
million.
see it. But that's a Kroenke issue rather
And
than.
it's gonna be north of 120 million. 120
but if he
million
joined Arsenal, it's another
the least
Dortmund.
you're getting him
It's
for.
another
isn't it?
Dortmund. It's another sort of fighting for things, not quite dominating. Half chances of winning things like Dortmund. He wants to join an established side winning things. I'm not even. If I take my Man City hat off, I think a Liverpool would be the right fit. I almost want him to join a Liverpool to. I think that'd be a great move. I think that fits his personality for who he is as a footballer. That's my take on it.
I think he should go to Real Madrid and then come to
Mate,
death row.
he goes to Real Madrid and he's a humble guy and he gets chewed out by these
And he wins
selfish,
Champions League.
arrowed Real Madrid fans and he gets sat on
Look
the
at
bench.
Camavinga, look at Chouameni.
The thing is, though, don't you think Real Madrid?
Chouameni's not even
Don't you
playing.
think Real Madrid is there for him when he's 28?
England's always there for him.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying is Real Madrid is where you go at your ultimate peak. Real Madrid is you don't go to Real Madrid at 21, you go
That's a
there
good
at
point.
29.
That's a good point.
You go there for the the final when you are the best that you can be. You've won it all already. You know who you are. You're a commanding player. You're
But
established.
if you come to England, it's going to be hard to get him out of England. Then you're going to have to pay a huge transfer fee unless he runs his contract.
it's Real
down
Madrid,
somewhere.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
It's Real Madrid. And also, if he wants
But
to
Real
go-
Madrid don't wait for no one.
No, I mean, I could. If you think ultimately he has to play for Real Madrid at some point, there's no reason that doesn't happen when he's 28.
Yeah, definitely. The way he's good, but that's
That's like Erling Haaland. It feels like Erling Haaland will do that at some point.
I think he'll be at Man City in the summer.
Who?
Jude.
Yeah, I think we'll sell Calvin Phillips.
I think he'll. My bet on this, if you want to everybody now states their case. My bet on this would be that he starts next season as a Borussia Dortmund player.